Dame press conferences.
Oh, Giants.
Above anything else with the Citadel press conference and that Louisville press conference.
Because we're going to get this thing rolling.
Yeah. I don't care if you're with us or not. Whatever he said. Yeah, Chris Halfpenny's a good call. I forgot about Chris Halfpenny there. You never know what you're going to get from her, as Jirons knows well. Oh my gosh, Jimmy photoshopped Marcus Freeman's head on Frank the Tank. Really? Well, why? But yeah, now JJ says actually Nate Norman could be a good answer if he responded to media questions like he does referees he doesn't like. I will pull my players off the press conference. That is not the rule. Yeah. That's good call there. But yeah, goal lights on again.
Caller, you're on.
All right, thanks for getting to the text line. Appreciate the Chris Halfpenny.
Yeah,
I definitely believe Chris Halfpenny's it. However, question for the team: what do we think score is this weekend? Because man, I'm starting to see 60-60 in my near future down in Fayetteville because both teams doesn't look like they got defenses.
Am I crazy or does he sound like he's talking weird?
the Fighting Irish. I'm Peyton Dymek here, joined by Leo Romano. And Notre Dame just celebrated their senior night here, honoring quite a few seniors. Leo, who really stood out to you with those lineups?
Yeah, I love KK Bransford. KK Bransford has been a favorite of mine throughout her time here at Notre Dame, even though it's been limited. I'm just happy that she's back. Having her inserted back in the lineup filled a huge gap for this Notre Dame team. She's been the primary reason Notre Dame's been able to turn this season around. They've won 5 out of 6 games now, including good wins over teams like Stanford and Wake Forest on the road, 78-54. So I'm very happy. And you know what stood out to me most, though, was that they honored the student managers. It's really cool. The student managers, they pour their heart and souls into these programs here at Notre Dame. Really cool for them to be recognized. But in terms of players, KK Bransford stood out to me. And, of course, Vanessa De Jesus, the transfer from Duke, who on the men's side of things came in here on Tuesday night and absolutely curb-stomped the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. So really excited, though, about this one, keeping our attention on the women's team. Don't know how much you know about Syracuse, but you've been doing your homework this week. What has stood out to you, Peyton, most about this Syracuse Orange team? What do they bring to the table, and how can they come out of the Purcell Pavilion and beat the Fighting Irish?
I mean, head coach Felisa Leggett-Jack, she's really turned the Syracuse program around. Now, she actually did play for Syracuse. She graduated in '89, and she was a former All-American. She returned in 2022, and just in her first 2 seasons, she led the Syracuse to back-to-back 20-win campaigns, a women's NIT Super 16, and a number 3 seed in the ACC tournament. She was also named 2024 ACC Coach of the Year, and she is the first Syracuse head coach in men or women's basketball to actually earn that honor.
Wow.
She's been able to turn Syracuse into one of the most well-rounded programs, in my opinion, in the ACC. They're averaging 75 points per game while ranking second in the conference in steals per game and first in offensive rebounds per game. Now, they've also been able to out-rebound their opponents in 16 of their 27 games, which is definitely why they're having so much success this season.
Absolutely. Rebounding is a stat that we're going to have to pay close attention to tonight, something Notre Dame women's basketball has quite candidly struggled with from time to time. One game that comes to mind is that Clemson game. They were out-rebounded 40-20. And head coach Neil Ivey spoke to it and saying that the girls need to play with more heart and more hustle, something the coach can't really provide them. Hannah Hidalgo had her coaches back on that one. But, yeah, you said it perfectly about this team. They're averaging 75 points a game. It's nothing too flashy from Syracuse. Very monotone and well-put-together basketball team. They beat the teams who they're supposed to beat, and they lose to the teams who they're supposed to lose to. Their 6 losses, 4 of them are to ranked matchups. Number 8, Michigan earlier in the year. Number 6, Louisville recently. They lost to the now 12th-ranked Blue Devils, who are sitting on top of the ACC standings. The 21st-ranked North Carolina Tar Heels. And 2 solid teams, not in the top 25, but a 21-8 Virginia Tech team and an 18-9 North Carolina State team. So this team knows how to play ball. They also know how to hang in there with teams that are in the middle of the pack like Notre Dame. What it's going to come down to is the play in the paint. The play in the paint is going to be huge tonight. Something that Syracuse might have a slight edge over Notre Dame. The name I'm going to give to you, you're probably familiar with her, Uche Izoje. Now, she has stood out to me. She's a freshman center from Nigeria, has 11 double-doubles through 27 games already this season. So looking for her 12th tonight. It would be a dozen through 28 games. And she's also looking this week to capture her 8th ACC Rookie of the Year award. She's already got 7 of them, Peyton.
She just took one home actually this week, which I think is why this matchup is really special, especially because Hannah Hidalgo was actually named ACC Player of the Week going into this week as well. So kind of watching them go up against each other, and Zoje is actually ranked number 1 in block shots. Hannah Hidalgo is ranked number 1 in steals in the ACC. And having those 2 stats kind of offset one another in a way, it'll be really interesting to see that matchup tonight between those 2 players that both teams know to watch out for. They've definitely scouted for that. So just kind of seeing how they respond is going to be really interesting.
Yeah, it makes for a defensive battle here tonight. no defensive battle in Baton Rouge right now. It's 43-42 at halftime between the LSU Tigers and the Tennessee Volunteers. Keep track on some games throughout the night, but back to Notre Dame. What does Notre Dame have to do, Peyton, to get the job done tonight?
I mean, right now with the ACC, technically Notre Dame is doing very well. They have the second best scoring offense. They lead in team field goal percentage. They lead in free throws and three-pointers. They lead in turnovers, and they lead in steals. If Notre Dame is able to play basketball that they know how to play well, especially under Neil Ivy's direction, I mean, like you were talking about before, it's just the girls having passion for what they do, the girls having heart for what they do. If they are able to do that and apply these things that have already gotten them this far in the ACC, I think we'll have a really solid matchup with them. And yes, Syracuse does a slightly better job of spreading out the ball. Notre Dame has actually improved in that throughout this year. You know, earlier and NDTV segments really focused on it, where it was Hannah Hidalgo has almost the highest amount of minutes actually in the ACC. I think she's like second or third or something like that. But, you know, we touched on it earlier where she was the one that was always going for the shots. She was kind of trying to always bring the ball to the paint and didn't really pass it to her teammates. But now we're seeing a little bit more team play. And if that team play can really happen tonight, I think that Syracuse can kind of get in the way and does stand a chance, but I think Notre Dame will be victorious in that sense.
Yeah, I imagine Notre Dame will get out of this one with a win tonight, but not so fast. Syracuse definitely has something dialed up their sleeves, trying to ruin senior night for our Notre Dame seniors. At the beginning of the game, as Peyton mentioned, we honored our seniors, who include Malaya Cowles, the graduate forward from Wilkesboro, North Carolina, who played her college ball at Wake Forest for 4 seasons. Also honored Cassandra Prosper, the senior guard from Quebec, Canada, as well as Bella Torini, the senior forward, also from Canada but from Ontario. The graduate guard, Jordan Smith. Jordan Smith hasn't seen much playing time, but when she does, it's always nice to see her on the floor. KK Bransford, of course, was welcomed with the biggest round of applause of the night, and rightly so. This 5'11 guard from Cincinnati, Ohio, as we talked about already, is one of those central pieces for this team. And then, of course, Iana Moore from Vanderbilt and Gisela Sanchez, the guard out of Kansas State.
What a strong matchup we have tonight. Purcell Pavilion is now honoring the colors of America, and we will as well. Again, Peyton Dimick and Leah Romano for Voice of the Fighting Irish. We will be right back. welcome back to WVFI. Again, Peyton Dymick here, joined by Leo Romano, and we are going to get our starting lineups underway here. The Orange have already announced theirs with Sophie Burrows, number 4, Lila Felia for number 5, Dominique Darius, number 20, Kira Scott, number 1, and Uche Izoje for number 44. Notre Dame's starting lineup is announced soon, but right now we can see Vanessa De Jesus, number 2, in, Hannah Hidalgo, number 3, Cassandra Prosper, number 8, Ayana Moore, number 23, and Malia Cowles in as well, number 5.
Star-studded lineup for the Fighting Irish tonight. No surprises in Notre Dame's starting 5, but a surprise in Syracuse's. I was talking with the boys over at the Syracuse Student Radio Center, and they told me they were shocked to see Kira Scott, number 1, starting over number, who was it? Shy Hawkins, number 14, the sophomore wing out of Mystic Beach, New York. They said they were shocked to see the Syracuse head coach trade the two, but she must know something we don't.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Syracuse adjusts to that. And speaking of switching things up here, Notre Dame having a new intro video tonight for their last game here in Purcell Pavilion, or at least a new video that I've seen. I'm used to a different one, so fun to see them switch it up a little bit for tonight for their last home matchup of the season. They are headed to Louisville this weekend to face off against the Cardinals before starting tournament play. So that'll be really exciting for Notre Dame.
Hard to keep track of all the mascots when you have Stanford joining the conference. They're the Cardinal. Louisville's the Cardinals. It's tough. It's tough to keep track of everything, and it's tough to keep track of Hannah Hidalgo. Hannah Hidalgo is the heartbeat of this team. She takes the floor along with, as Peyton said, De Jesus, Prosper, Moore, and Coles to take on an equally star-studded team from Syracuse. The Orange look to play spoiler to senior night, and to start with the play-by-play, Peyton, take it away.
We're getting started here. So far, Notre Dame is just getting on the court, but in the tip-off, we will have Izoje here for the Orange, number 44. Notre Dame now getting set. Seems like it will be Prosper here facing off against Izoje. And the tip is by Prosper, but it ends up being Syracuse's ball. Darius now with it just at the Notre Dame logo. Darius passing it off to Izojo. Sorry, I apologize.
Already a steal for Hidalgo.
Great steal there. Moore moving down here. Moore still with it about the arc. A pass there to Cowles, but it's right under the hoop where there are multiple Orange. Prosper, and it is good. First 2 points on the board for the Irish. Darius will take it now for the Orange, passing it right off to Burrows. Burrows back to Izoje. Izoje back out to Darius, back out to Burrows, who's just at the Notre Dame logo here with about 15 seconds left on the shot clock. Number 5, Felia taking it, trying to take it to the paint here for the Orange, being guarded there by Moore, but she sinks it in, and 2 points for Syracuse.
Yeah, nice step-through move there.
Great job there for the Orange. Hannah Hidalgo now with the ball, passing it off to Prosper, who passes it off to De Jesus. De Jesus kind of stuck there at the logo, but finds Cowles there in the arc, and it'll be Moore who tries to go up for the layup, but it just hits kind of that bottom right there of the backboard and bounces out of bounds.
And this one's going to stay down on this end. Prosper to take it out. Looked like it could have been out on the Orange, and it was. And that one almost stolen off the inbound. Hidalgo couldn't get it. Notre Dame will try again.
Very close there. Very aggressive play already so far. We're only It's about 8:47 right now left in the first quarter, so quite aggressive play we're already seeing from both sides. Hidalgo chipping in to De Jesus. De Jesus finding Hidalgo again on that arc. Hidalgo heavily guarded there by Izoje.
Yeah, Syracuse just a lot longer than Notre Dame, so we'll see how that plays out tonight.
Hannah Hidalgo with the attempted layup and is then on the floor. Izoje with the ball. Hidalgo tried to steal but couldn't quite get it, so the Orange will still take it. It'll be Filia passing it off to Izoje. Izoje in the paint, and she gets it for the Orange, putting them up 4-2.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect anything less out of Uche Izoje right out of the gun. That was a perfect floater from about the free throw line.
Great job there from the Orange. Cal's passing it off to De Jesus now. And it looks to be almost on Syracuse sideline, but Moore is able to take it to the paint. She passes it to Cowles, who's right under the basket and doesn't quite get it.
Yeah, Moore just happened to be at the right place at the right time in that far end corner for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Otherwise, that ball was going out of play, and it was going to be a turnover. And Peyton, I said it earlier, I'll say it again. I want to emphasize the length on this Syracuse team. They aren't only tall, but they're also very long. They have huge wingspans. I'll be curious to see how Notre Dame is able to exploit that defense, which doesn't seem to have too many holes.
There was a personal foul here by Izoje, so Cowles took 2 free throws. She made one of them, so the score is now 4-3. De Jesus right around that free throw line, but doesn't quite get that floater, and it will be Burrows taking it off for the Orange back to their side of the court. Burrows kind of going into the paint, but then passing it back up to Filia, and it's tipped there by Hidalgo, but it's able to be recovered by Burrows, who passes it back off to Filia, who ends up sinking it there for Syracuse.
Man, I was just talking about the length on this end for Syracuse, and Hidalgo just jumps out of the gym to block that three-pointer in the corner. How impressive.
I know they should recruit Hidalgo for the volleyball team next season after they lost Gardy. Seems like there will be a violation there from Notre Dame, so Burrows will chip it in for Syracuse to Darius.
Yeah, Coles just forgot to dribble.
It happens. I'd forget to. Izoje here with the ball for the Orange. Burrows there right on the arc and just bounces out, but it is a recovery from Notre Dame after being tipped by a couple Orange. De Jesus now with the ball at the arc, passing it off to Moore. Moore is trying to slow things down a little bit with 20 seconds left on this shot clock to go. Passing it back out to De Jesus, who's right at the Notre Dame logo. De Jesus finds Cowles kind of right underneath her legs. Darius trying to take that ball, but it's passed to Hannah Hidalgo and almost stolen there by Izoje. But it is good for Cowles. Great layup there, 2 points there for Notre Dame.
What a find by Hidalgo. That's one of the things that she's known for, is her vision of the court. And then on the other end, Vanessa De Jesus, the Duke transfer, getting in the passing lane, able to disrupt this highly paced game. Syracuse was looking to push the ball down the court. They don't get it.
Now a chip in from Burrows to Darius. Hidalgo very one-on-one there, trying to steal the ball. I mean, that's what Hidalgo does best. But Darius passes it back out to Filia, who's right at the Notre Dame logo. She takes the shot and just bounces off the backboard, but Hidalgo will take it for the defensive rebound all the way down. And she tries for that layup, but doesn't get there. Hidalgo there a little slow to get up, but she does. It will end up being a personal foul here on Syracuse, so they will send Hidalgo to the free throw line. Specifically, that foul was on Scott for the Orange.
I'm a bit perplexed there by the shot decision Layla Filia chose. I mean, she pulled up from the logo with 5-6 seconds left to spare on the shot clock. By no means did that one have to go up when it did.
Yeah, she's looking a little bit like, I don't know, there was a shot of Micah Shrewsbury, or not Micah Shrewsbury, I apologize, Braden Shrewsbury once, where he had like 25 seconds left on the shot clock and he tried to shoot it from a similar distance and didn't get it. So, I mean, maybe Notre Dame's men's basketball is her calling. Now, Syracuse with the ball here, Darius taking it down. Hidalgo again playing very strong one-on-one defense, trying to steal that ball away. Scott here passing it off to Izoje.
She's like a spider web on defense.
I know she's doing a great job. She's everywhere all at once. Burrows passing it out to Scott. Scott with the attempted layup and doesn't quite get it. Cowles was kind of there, and Hannah Hidalgo is able to take that defensive rebound. Hidalgo from the three and just bounces off. An attempted there from Bransford to get that rebound, and it seems like Notre Dame actually pushed the ball out of bounds, so it'll be Syracuse's ball right around their bench. Burrows here chipping it in to Felia. Burrows taking her time at the logo, trying to slow some things down. A lot of logo play here from Syracuse, but Scott is able to find an open spot there to Burrows, but it ends up being a traveling call on Burrows. So Prosper will be chipping it in for the Irish.
Hidalgo taking it the other way. Bransford is now in, and she's at the right wing. I'm curious to see what she'll do here as she motions over.
Hidalgo here on the arc, passing it off to Prosper. Prosper moving into the paint, and just a great fake out there on Burrows, and 2 points for the Irish.
Prosper's able to do that because what she does really well is forcing defenders off of their feet. She draws defenders into fakes all the time.
Great job there from Prosper, and it seemed that number 20, Darius, for the Orange was trying to make a layup work or just try to get something to work, but it ends with her there on the ground.
So with 4:49 left, Notre Dame up 9-6. And when we return, Darius will be on the free throw line to shoot 2. You're listening to Leo Romano and Peyton Dymick on WVFI, the voice of the Fighting Irish.
WVFI Voice of the Fighting Irish. Peyton Dymick here, joined by Leo Romano. Leo, what are you seeing in the first 6 minutes here that Notre Dame's done really, really well?
Yeah, what Notre Dame has been able to do is get back on defense. Syracuse only has 6 points through just over 5 minutes of play. And it's a credit to them moving even when their offender doesn't have the basketball. It's super important to track down everybody. And, of course, Hannah Hidalgo is just an exemplary of that throughout her entire career at Notre Dame, and especially has blossomed in that category this season. And you've seen it now. KK Bransford has done an incredible job of that. They're just affecting shots. You saw back to Hidalgo, right? Being able to block that corner three. That's not an easy block. And she was able to do that. So big credit to the defense. Would like to see this offense kind of ramp up things a little bit. They're not getting the greatest of looks. So it's really about finding the holes in that Orange defense.
I agree. And right now, speaking of the orange, Darius is on that charity stripe. Now, Darius is one person that you don't want to send to this line. She's actually at 84% for her free throws going into this game, and she just made both of hers. Those are easy points for the orange that the Irish cannot be giving up in such a close matchup like this. Hidalgo taking the ball and giving it off to Prosper around the logo here for Notre Dame. Prosper back to De Jesus. Great pass there to Cowles. Bransford trying to make a move in the paint, and she gets it there, 2 for the Irish.
Yeah, beautiful move there by Bransford. That's what the Irish missed for 2 months.
Burrows passing it off to Felia, who passes it off to Darius here for the orange. Back to Felia in the paint. She tries for that layup and doesn't get it, but Prosper gets that rebound, which is exactly what we need to see from the Irish right now. Prosper moving quickly down the court, passing it off to De Jesus, who gives it back to Bransford. Again, and it looks like it kind of rebounded off of an orange face there. I think it may have been Scott's face of anything, but seems to be a little bit of a kerfuffle there on the court.
Yeah, that was crazy. The basketball was pinballing around there. Finally ended up in the hands of the orange. But before Syracuse could get a timeout, it was called a jump ball, and the possession arrow belongs to Syracuse, so it'll stay on this side. Sorry, to Notre Dame, so it'll stay on this side.
Seems like a little bit of a scruffle there, but they get it sorted out. So Hidalgo will chip in the ball to Prosper there. Prosper with 2 orange right on her, passing it all the way out to the arc to De Jesus, who tries for that 3 but doesn't get it. Burrows there with that defensive rebound. Strong pass almost halfway down the court there to Felia, who hands it off to Izoje there, passing it off to, I think that was Darius.
Yeah, Darius with a nice finish there at the rim. These points in the paint are adding up quickly for Syracuse. It's 11-10 now with just over 3:20 to play in the first quarter.
Speaking of 3:20, Hannah with the ball, passing it off to De Jesus. Bransford here finding Cowles in the paint, who tries to find Prosper, but couldn't quite get her hands down there, and it actually didn't bounce off of an orange. So it'll end up being Syracuse's ball here. Burrows with the chip into Darius.
Just a silly turnover there, trying to force something that wasn't really there.
Notre Dame obviously playing aggressive, but also wanting to draw that line between too much aggression and just kind of careless mistakes in a way. And speaking of that, Izoje there with 2 points for the orange. Hidalgo taking the ball slowly down the court here. Running around the arc and now into the paint, wanting to make this layup work so badly, but just can't get it. Cowles really, really wanting that offensive rebound, but it seems that Syracuse will actually walk away with it, specifically Darius.
Yeah, Darius came down with it, but then was kind of forced out of bounds with that scuffle there, so it's going to stay here, and Hidalgo will be the one to inbound it.
Sanchez and Moore also in for Notre Dame in replace of Prosper and Cowles. Speaking of Moore, already trying to make an impact with a 2-point attempt, but doesn't quite get it. So Syracuse defensively rebounds it. Darius traveling down the court here, finding Izoje in the middle, but then passing it right back off to Thompson. But Hidalgo does what she does best and steals that ball away. She's headed all the way down, and she gets it. 2 points for the Irish.
Beautiful.
Burrows passing it off to Darius. Darius from the arc, but just bounces out here, touching the rim, but doesn't quite get it. Sanchez gets that rebound, passes it off to Bransford, passing it off to Hidalgo on the arch, and she doesn't get there. Izoje is there for that defensive rebound. Hidalgo desperately trying to steal this ball back here, but doesn't quite get it. So Syracuse makes it all the way to their basket. And no Notre Dame defender there on Izoje. They cannot have that happen.
Yeah, what do you know? More points in the paint. That's 10 now for Syracuse, and big reason why they have a 1-point lead.
Really rough play there for Notre Dame. That was honestly kind of uncharacteristic for this team. But now we have Bransford passing it out to Moore on the arch, but doesn't get that either. Really good shot there, even though there was quite a bit of time left on the shot clock.
Yeah, but I don't mind it. It was a nice quick catch and shoot. Just didn't go. And oh my goodness, Peyton. Another wide open layup for the Orange. Make it 12 points in the paint.
This is difficult. I mean, there's no Notre Dame defender there. I mean, they're letting these girls walk into the paint basically and get these layups, which doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, especially since Syracuse and Notre Dame, I would say, are pretty evenly matched in skill, honestly. Moore here trying to get something, trying to steal the ball away, but ends up drawing a foul from Darius.
Look, I appreciate the intention there, wanting to get the ball back, but you're way too far away from the basket for that to happen. That's one of my pet peeves, Peyton, is a foul on the other side of half court. I can't stand it.
It's a rough watch, honestly, with these defensive errors. And Hannah Hidalgo with the steal, taking it all the way to the orange basket, and she gets it for the Irish. Finally something that they needed here, especially with this defense that we were talking about.
I said it on our show last week. It's not a Notre Dame women's basketball game without a coast-to-coast transition layup for Hidalgo after a steal.
Great effort there from Hidalgo, and great block and swipe there from Burrows. Great job on Prosper's part.
Yeah, Prosper spiking that ball out of bounds, similar to Pat Connaughton back in 2016, that March Madness round of 32 matchup, I believe it was, against Butler.
Schmidt here for the Orange, trying to find someone, and she gives it off to Burrows. Burrows passes it out to Felia. Felia making a run for it, passing it off to Schmidt, who's on that arc. Schmidt with the 3 attempt, but doesn't get it. Both here, Prosper and Thompson for the Orange, were both fighting for that ball. A little unclear who it touched last. It seems like there's a little bit of discussion, but I think it touched Prosper last. So Schmidt is now chipping in the ball for the Orange. Passing it all the way out, almost to the Notre Dame logo, to Burrows here. Burrows finding Schmidt again, kind of bringing it back. Hannah Hidalgo with an attempted steal, and she gets it! Hannah Hidalgo taking it all the way down, guarded there, but she gets it. 2 points for Notre Dame.
Wow!
Great job there from Hidalgo. She's able to get Felia to also leave the ground with her, so she is basically 1 on nothing for this layup. There also seemed to have actually been a foul here, so it'll send Hidalgo to the charity stripe for Notre Dame.
Yeah, the personal foul will be on Layla Felia. It's only Felia's first of the game. Oh, she can't convert the and 1, but there is Bransford to finish with 2. 19-16, Notre Dame at the end of 1.
Great work there. Great duo work, honestly, there for Notre Dame. Again, like we were talking about in the middle, not such great defense, really letting the Orange get away with easy layups and getting fouled on the other side of the court. But Notre Dame was able to come back and come up.
Yeah, absolutely. And we got a 19-16 ball game, not relatively high scoring, but not really low scoring either. And you feel like it would be even lower scoring because both teams are 0 for 5 from 3, Peyton. Very uncharacteristic of Notre Dame, who shoots about 40% from the beyond the arc. So definitely something to look out on because this Syracuse team could get hot from deep and take care of this one.
It'll definitely be interesting to see how both these teams adjust. And like you're talking about here, Syracuse is a little bit of a different defense than Notre Dame is used to playing against. So seeing how maybe Notre Dame comes back in this second quarter here just to kind of switch things up, obviously, if they know that things aren't really working from the arch, trying to kind of maneuver more into the paint and with those layups as well. And that sneaky shot that we had earlier to Cowles would be something great that Notre Dame should continue through this quarter.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we have the chicken toss going on here. And with that, we'll toss it back to a little commercial break. But don't go anywhere. It's 19-16. Notre Dame with the lead over the Syracuse Orange here at the Purcell Pavilion at the Joyce Center. You're listening to Leo Romano and Peyton Dymick on WVFI, the voice of the Fighting Irish.
Diamond Romano. We are headed into this second quarter between Syracuse and Notre Dame. Notre Dame up 19-16 after a little bit of a rough start and letting Syracuse get away with some easy defense here.
Yeah, we have a new look on the floor for the Syracuse Orange. Hawkins making her first appearance of the game.
Filia here with a jumper, and it is good. 2 points for the Orange. Hidalgo will take the ball back down to the other side of the court, passing it off to Prosper, giving it to Cowles, who passes it right back to Prosper, and 2 points are good for Notre Dame.
Yeah, and Syracuse quickly the other way. Something they like to do is really push the tempo of games. It gets their opponents in a little bit of uncomfortable territory.
Big pass there for Syracuse. Darius really trying to command the court here and try to call a play right now and passing it off to Burrows to get a little bit more time here, but she gives it back to her at the logo. And Darius taking it into the paint but passing it back out to Filia, who's also trying to get in the paint with 2 seconds left on the shot clock. And it was offensively rebounded by Darius, but there was only 1 second left and the shot clock ran out. So it is Notre Dame's ball here, Prosper chipping it in.
Yeah, you know, Peyton, coaches always talk about making the extra pass, and that's something that they didn't do right there. Or she had her teammate wide open in the corner for a three-pointer with about 8 seconds left in the shot clock, but couldn't get it up.
Speaking of threes, Prosper with that attempted three and doesn't quite get it, but De Jesus is able to get that offensive rebound. Hannah Hidalgo traveling into the paint and subtly passing it off to Bransford. Here, Bransford getting those points for the Irish.
She's smooth. Looked like she was going up for it, dishes it right under the hoop to her teammate, who puts it up and in.
I love to see this from Hidalgo. She's done such a great job of distributing that wealth tonight for Notre Dame. Syracuse now passing along their own arch here. Hawkins right now passing it off to Darius. Hidalgo and Bransford both trying for that steal, but Hidalgo trying a little bit harder, staying one-on-one even when she's passing it off to Burrows. Burrows giving it off to Hawkins, and the shot clock runs out once again on the Orange.
Yeah, that's back-to-back turnovers now for Syracuse, totaling 8. And we're only 12 minutes into this one.
A little bit of interesting basketball here just in that sense. I mean, back-to-back, too, completely running out that shot clock. Hidalgo now for Notre Dame in the paint, trying for that layup and doesn't quite get it, but Krause is there for a offensive rebound, doesn't get it either, but Prosper is right there in the middle of all those Orange, and she's able to draw a foul here from the Orange.
Yeah, the offensive glass was friendly there to the Fighting Irish. Seemed like every bounce just ended up in the hands of a white jersey, and now Prosper's on the line shooting 2.
Great job for Notre Dame, especially, again, given the fact that Syracuse is a little bit taller and has that larger wingspan and everything. You know, they're able to jump a little bit higher, so great job on Notre Dame here. Prosper's first free throw is good. Prosper's been really great from the free throw line this season, hitting about 75.3% of her free throws, and now adding 2 more to that number. Darius here for the Orange, taking it to the logo, one-on-one with De Jesus. Passing it off here to Filia, giving it off to Burrows. Back to Filia on the arch. Filia trying to get Hawkins open, but ends up passing it off to Burrows on that other side. But Burrows gives it back to Hawkins, who passes it back to Burrows, and she tries for the 3, and it is good for the Orange.
That's a good shot. I mean, it was way downtown from the parking lot, basically, but it rattles home. Syracuse pulls within 4, 25-21.
Great job there for the Orange. De Jesus now in the paint, passing it off to Bransford, and it is blocked by Izoje. I mean, that's what she does best. Again, she's number 1 in the ACC for blocks. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, Bransford is being aggressive, but, you know, you're going up against somebody who leads the conference in what she does best, so makes sense.
Whoa, that was way high off the glass by Prosper.
Prosper there trying for the quick points, but it ends up being Burrows who takes it for Syracuse, and no traveling called, even though it kind of seemed like she definitely did.
Yeah.
Hidalgo taking it, giving it off to De Jesus, who's passed it off to Cowles there. Prosper now in the paint, tries for the layup and doesn't get it. Izoje there in instead handing it off to Darius, who hands it off to Burrows on that arch. Darius headed to the paint. Hidalgo blocks it, but it ends up going right back into Darius' hands. She tries for the layup and doesn't get it, so it ends up being Hawkins there stuck on that border, and she passes it out to number 17, Potts, for the Orange, who gets that 3.
Putts for 3. I say that a lot on the golf course. Putts for 3, 3 putts. Not happy with that. And I'm not happy with that result either. 26-25 now, Syracuse, their first lead.
Notre Dame back with the ball. Burrows trying to steal it from Prosper, but Prosper goes for the jumper, and she gets it for Notre Dame.
Yeah, I was going to say their first lead in quite some time. They were up early, but Notre Dame erases it.
Burrows and Potts exchanging it there on the perimeter, passing it off to Izoje, kind of more in the middle, who passes it off to Hawkins. Hidalgo tries to go up with Hawkins, and she does, but Hawkins ends up just staying down and shooting from almost around the free throw line, and it's good for the Orange.
Yeah, Hawkins with a little funky form there, making sure she uses the glass to her advantage, and she does. And just like that, we got a football score here, 28-27 Syracuse. Now here's a question. Notre Dame and Syracuse played each other on the gridiron back in November. The final was Notre Dame 70, Syracuse 7. Syracuse has already passed the 7 that their football team got. They did that within the first couple of minutes. Notre Dame on track for about 70 tonight. Do the women's team score more than the football team did against Syracuse? Peyton?
I think they can. I mean, I'm an optimist here, and I really do love Notre Dame women's basketball, so I really think they can score over 70. And, I mean, this season alone, you know, they're averaging quite a few points per game, about 79.4 actually. So I think they're going to hit 80, if not maybe upwards of 80. We can be optimistic for senior night, I think.
That'd be a lot of fun. But baskets need to start falling. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish have yet to make a 3. They're 0 for 6. But Syracuse obviously starting to see it fall now from beyond the arc. They're 2 of 7. Shooting at a relatively high percentage, 54.5% to Notre Dame's 40.7. And that's a credit to getting in the paint. Most of their points tonight have come from the paint. It's 18 out of their 28. Peyton, what does Notre Dame have to do to affect Syracuse in the square?
I mean, earlier when we were watching the way that the Notre Dame offense works and tries to kind of fake out those defenders, it's worked every single time. It's also worked on Notre Dame, obviously, but it's really worked on Syracuse, right? And I also think that staying one-on-one a lot better is going to help the Irish. I mean, again, there were 2 shots back-to-back where the Orange just walked into the paint and got layups for free, basically. And I really think that was because Notre Dame was kind of focused more on the perimeter and not on, like, player v. player. And I really think that if Notre Dame sticks to their just, like, one person or however they want to run their defense, but if they stick more one-on-one, I think it'll really benefit them, especially because that's where we see Hidalgo get her steals, or that's where we see Hidalgo get those blocks. So I really think that moving forward, the Irish need to focus on one player each and keep it that way. Right now, we have about 5 minutes, 39 seconds left in the second quarter. The score is currently 28 Syracuse, 27 Notre Dame, and we are about to get underway once again after a little timeout. Looks like Bransford here will chip in the ball for Notre Dame to Hidalgo.
No one else you want taking it up the court.
Not one bit. Hidalgo here slowing things down a little bit for her team, finding Bransford once again, passing it back off to Hidalgo, finding more on that arc, giving it off to Cowles, who's right in the paint, but has 3 orange on her. But it'll end up being called on Cowles, I think.
A 3-second violation on Cowles, yes.
So Syracuse will take that ball. Burrows traveling with it down the court now. Kind of quickly. I mean, Syracuse has been doing fairly well, and they have the momentum, so I would understand Syracuse offense speeding up here. Izoje here basically from right behind the free throw line and doesn't get it, but Hidalgo will walk away with that defensive rebound here. Hidalgo moving quickly, And it seems like she tried to knock it off almost of Izoje's leg, and it ends up working, actually. So it'll be Notre Dame's possession here. Hidalgo chipping it in a little past the arc to Moore. Very one-on-one with Potts and Moore there. But Moore finds Cowles in the paint. Cowles being guarded by two orange, squeezed by the orange, if you will. Moore back to Cowles, and Cowles just misses that layup. But there will be a call here, I want to say, on Burrows from Syracuse.
Yeah, I think they're going to get Burrows with the foul. So it'll send Coles to the line to shoot 2 to try to tie.
Coles right now about 63.3% from the free throw line. Ooh, a little bit of a spinner there, but it goes in the rim for Notre Dame.
A little bit of a spinner, a little bit of a swirl. Either way, it goes in, and it's tied at 28.
And her second is good as well, putting Notre Dame up 29-28 with just over 4:40 left in the second quarter here.
Look for this Irish defense to turn it up once again. Took a few possessions off after forcing the back-to-back shot clock violations. But they got their bigger lineup now in the game.
Hawkins trying to find Izoje there and doesn't find it. The pass was no good, so it'll be Notre Dame's ball here. Prosper chipping it in for Notre Dame. Bransford now off. Prosper came in for her, so Hidalgo will take that ball down the court. Hidalgo passing it off to Coles right there, who finds Prosper, who's in the paint, tries for the layup and doesn't get it. Syracuse upset that there wasn't a travel called there. Hidalgo with the layup, and it's good. Frustration here coming from the Syracuse bench.
Yeah, the Syracuse head coach is livid right now, and I think they're going to make up for it with a foul called down below. The foul is going to go to DeJesus.
Darius will chip it in for the Orange, and she has it back on her own arc, and it bounces in and then right back out of that basket, so it is no good. DeJesus traveling with the ball right back down, finding Moore on that perimeter, and it seems like Moore just stepped out of bounds right there, honestly.
You have to know where you are on the court. It sounds simple, but it's challenging when you're running at such high speeds that these women do. So she just loses track of where she was and might turn into a Syracuse bucket on the other end.
Philia finds Burrows right there, and Burrows for that layup, putting Syracuse to 30 points here.
So Notre Dame only has 4 turnovers, but Syracuse has been able to convert off of them. And there's turnover number 5.
There's a big takeaway here for number 5, Philia, for the Orange, and it's good, putting Syracuse above Notre Dame 32-31. Again, really, that one-on-one defense might help the Irish out a little bit here. Moore finding Prosper. Prosper being heavily guarded here by Hawkins, but passing it back out to Hidalgo. Hidalgo is about at the logo with 10 seconds left on the shot clock. Hidalgo guarded by 3 Oranges, passing it off to Moore, and Moore tries for the 3, just a little behind the arc, but doesn't quite get it, so Syracuse will take it away. But they end up calling a foul here on Syracuse.
Hey, so Notre Dame will get the ball back. It's 32-31 with just under 3 minutes to play, and I have to highlight that this game has been played in the paint. Syracuse with 22 points in the paint, Notre Dame with 20 of their own. It'll be interesting to see if the floor starts to open up as we get down the stretch here.
Speaking of the paint, Cow's right there in the paint for the Irish, getting 2 points on her layup. Hawkins now in the paint for the Orange. Hidalgo tries to steal it away, but doesn't. The pass is good to Darius, who passes it off to Burrows, giving it all the way back to Philia. Philia subtly handing it off to Burrows. Burrows passing it off to Izoje here on the arc. Izoje traveling into the paint and just bouncing it off the backboard here. It'll be a foul here on Coles, and she heads out for the Irish. Sanchez also heads in, and also Bransford now back in for Notre Dame. Izoje on that charity stripe. First free throw, no good. It's really difficult because free throws in basketball, it's like serving in volleyball. You know, you don't want to miss those, not easy. I mean, I don't think I could make a free throw if I tried, but you know, you're missing those easy points for your team that are really going to help them in situations like this where it's extremely dire to kind of get those extra points where they need them. Hidalgo traveling all the way down the court and doesn't quite get the ball. She almost steals it away from the Orange, and she ends up tripping Izoje here in the mix-up. A hard pass here from Darius to Hawkins, and it goes into the crowd, actually. Darius limping on that right knee here.
Yeah, Darius appears to be limping off the court. Looks like she just irritated her right knee. We'll keep an eye on that.
Velez will come in for her for the Orange. De Jesus off to Hidalgo, who's at that Notre Dame logo here. Hidalgo from right between the three and the paint, and she gets it good for the Irish.
Right over the hands of Izoje, putting the freshman in her place.
Burrows passing it off to Velez for the Orange. And there seems to be a foul here called on Syracuse, and the Syracuse head coach is not happy about that at all. It's actually a turnover here from Izoje, and that will be her fourth.
Yeah, that's 12 total turnovers on the game now for Syracuse, including 3 in their last 5 possessions.
And a steal here from the Orange. Burrows almost taking the shot, but passing it off to Velez, who ends up tripping, and the ball rolls out as a result.
I think Prosper was moving her feet just as quickly and kind of got tangled up. They're going to call her for the foul. So that'll be Prosper's first of the game.
Velez here chipping it in for the Orange. Darius now third on that bench, ready to come back in for Syracuse. Burrows and Felia there right on the arch, passing it back off. Felia traveling into the paint and can't get past De Jesus, and so De Jesus will take that defensive rebound. KK Bransford here with the attempted layup and doesn't quite get it, but passes it out to De Jesus on that arc, and she also doesn't get it, but Hidalgo is there for that ball. Hidalgo with the recovery with about 14 seconds left on the shot clock, 53 seconds left in this quarter. Hidalgo with 8 seconds running into the paint. She bounces it off of Burrows' chest and gets it right back. She tries to pass it out to De Jesus, but is called for traveling here. Again, just a little bit of a struggle here. I mean, again, Syracuse are bigger blockers, not necessarily something that Notre Dame has had to face yet this season. So Hidalgo having a little bit of a struggle. We're expected to see that for sure. Syracuse now with the ball, 36 seconds left in this quarter, 20 seconds left on the shot clock. Velez from the arc being guarded by De Jesus, but passing it off to Felia, who gives it right back to Velez, giving it to Hawkins, who is trying to find the paint. Sanchez tries for the block, but doesn't quite get it. But the ball doesn't go in and is recovered by Prosper here, who gives it to Hidalgo. 13 seconds left here on the clock. Hidalgo here right around that 3, but she travels to the paint and she gets the layup for the Irish. 1 second left here. Syracuse with the attempted buzzer beater and doesn't get it. Right now the score is currently 37 Notre Dame, 32 Syracuse as they head into halftime. Leo, what did you see that you liked? What did you see that needs to improve on either side?
Yeah, I'll start with the offensive side for Notre Dame. I love them getting into the lane. It's something that they've been working on and they've struggled with, but they seem to have found their rhythm. In terms of what they need to improve on that end is the three-point shot. They are 0 for 8. And they're still up 5, so that's the good news for the Fighting Irish. For Syracuse, you got to continue doing what you are, and that's putting pressure on this Notre Dame offense, and then also getting into the paint of your own. They have a flurry of points that have come from the paint, 22 to be exact. But they had the lead, 32-31, just 2 minutes and 45 seconds ago. And Notre Dame ended that half on a 6-0 run. Expect Syracuse to respond right out of the half. This is not a team that goes away easy.
Yeah, I'm ready to see some big responses here from both teams, especially on that three. So definitely headed into halftime, I wonder what those coaches are saying about what shots they're deciding to make, what shots they are making, how aggressive they're being as well. I mean, Syracuse has 12 turnovers. Notre Dame only has 7. Again, Syracuse also has 5 fouls, but Notre Dame is also tied with 5. So kind of more focusing on how to stay aggressive but also keep it clean basketball, especially because those free throw points are points that you don't necessarily want to give away to the other team right now. That being said, we will also be taking a halftime break here. Don't go anywhere. We will be back in about 13 minutes. Once again, I'm Peyton Dymek, and I was joined by Leo Romano, and you're listening to Voice of the Fighting Irish. WVFI, Voice of the Fighting Irish. I am Peyton Dymick here, joined by Leo Romano. Now, Leo, before you get started on the second half play-by-play, what's something you want to see from the Irish right away?
Well, I love that they've gotten into the paint. They have 24 points in the paint, but I want to see the three ball and the perimeter shots to start to fall for Notre Dame. They haven't made anything from beyond the arc. They're 0 for 8, but they do have a few shots that have been made from the middle of the floor. As for Syracuse, Syracuse needs to take care of the ball in order to get back in this game. They cannot turn the ball over nearly as much as they did in the first half. They had a dozen turnovers in half number 1. They can't do that in half number 2 because Notre Dame has taken advantage of those turnovers, turning them into 20 points. And that was the big reason why why Notre Dame ended the first half on a 6-0 run. So we're looking forward to a fun second half. A lot of drama coming your way in the next 20 minutes of basketball here at the Purcell Pavilion at the Joyce Center. I'm Leo Romano, joined by Peyton Dymick. I'll take over the play-by-play now for the second half with the Irish up 37-32 with the ball. More inbounds to Hidalgo. Hidalgo to Prosper at the left elbow, to Coles inside, and a quick turnover for the Fighting Irish. Exactly how you drew that up, though, if you're Syracuse. That's exactly what you needed, right, Peyton?
I think Syracuse is definitely going to play a little bit of smarter basketball. Obviously, they forced quite a few turnovers last half, so definitely from them coming out a little bit smarter after this halftime.
Hawkins doesn't know where to go with it, passes it off to Burrows. Burrows weaves her way inside the paint, guarded heavily by Moore. Out to Hawkins. Hawkins tries to go over the taller Prosper, doesn't get it to fall. Rebound going the other way is Hidalgo, who finds more pump fakes, settles for the 2, off the back of the rim, no good. Prosper there with the rebound. Out to Hidalgo for 3. That one's off the back, but Prosper reaches up and over the Syracuse Orange and then gets the floater to go, falling away from the basket. Notre Dame collects its first points of the second half.
Great job there from Notre Dame, really playing as a team in that sense. You know, it wasn't necessarily, I'm going up to get this rebound for myself. It was, I'm going to get these points for my team.
Issa J's been quiet. She doesn't have the ball. This one's batted away by Ayanna Moore and goes out of bounds. Syracuse basketball, 39-32, 8:53 now to play in the third. This will be inbounded from the left side of the basket. Quickly into the Syracuse Burrows, but she's off the mark. Hidalgo quickly going the other way. Weaves her way all the way into the paint. And oh my goodness, that was such a free layup. 41-32. Notre Dame extends the run to 10-0.
Great job there from Hidalgo. That's honestly what she does best. And tonight, already having 16 points here, she's doing a great job to keep the Irish in this matchup.
And Felia finds her way in the paint and draws a foul of her own. So she'll go to the charity stripe.
Yeah, Felia, not someone you want to see on that line. She's at 86 basically percent here from the free throw line this season, so not the person that you want to be fouling, and Notre Dame really has to be careful, especially since a lot of the Syracuse players do have very high free throw percentages, so really staying away from those fouls that get the Orange easy points, especially, yes, they are only about a 9-point difference, but still, every little point matters here in this kind of game.
You're right, so the first one no good, second one good, 41-33 now. And this will go off the foot of the Syracuse defender. So it'll stay with Notre Dame. 23 seconds left in the shot clock. It was Hawkins who kicked that one out of bounds. And who is it but Prosper in the paint, who finds the cutting Coles, who lays it up and in on the right-hand side. Notre Dame extends the lead to 10, their largest lead of the night. Almost intercepted by Notre Dame, but it ends up in the hands of Hawkins in the far left corner, who finds herself just below the charity stripe, and she'll turn this one over to Jesus there in the passing lane yet again, who finds Moore. Moore puts on a little move on the left-hand side, has nowhere to go. She'll take it back out with DeJesus at the top of the key. 18 seconds left now on the shot clock. DeJesus pulls it back, finds Moore on the left side. Really nowhere to go, puts on a little jab move. Oh, and that one's off the mark. Coles misses it. And we got the other way with Velez, who finds Filia in the corner. Filia's shot rims out, no good. Rebound on the floor with Syracuse. And just like that, Burrows throws it away. Notre Dame basketball.
Really aggressive play here like we're seeing. I mean, 2 Syracuse players on the ground here over on their own net. And for Notre Dame, 1 Irish, 1 orange. So, again, very aggressive play here starting off this half, which honestly is what you want to see in such a close game.
Hidalgo captaining the ship here for Notre Dame on the right-hand side. Oh, she was expecting DeJesus to cut. She didn't. A little frustrated as that'll go out of bounds. And it adds up to be a turnover for the Fighting Irish, their 9th of the night.
Little things like that definitely are things that Notre Dame can overcome and will need to if they want to hold on to this win.
Syracuse gets it inside. Izoje, no good. Rebound, Fighting Irish, and it's Moore quickly going the other way. She stops in her tracks pretty quickly. Hands it off to Hidalgo. Hidalgo going strong on the left side, but that one's batted away. It's Hawkins going the other way. She finds an open man, and that one is just off the mark. But Izoje with the rebound and finish. It's 43-35 now, just over 6:40 to play in the third.
Headed into tonight, Izoje had 98 offensive rebounds there. And honestly, I think that's one of the greatest things she does for the Orange.
We're having a little technical difficulties here at the Purcell Pavilion at the Joyce Center. The clock had sounded. We're getting a substitution now with 6:43 to play still. A lot of confusion from both benches. KK Bransford and Gisela Sanchez are checking in. Don't know for who yet as they huddle up. And we'll just take this one to a timeout. So Notre Dame 43, Syracuse 35, 6:43 to play in the third. We're going to take a quick timeout as the scoring table figures out their technical difficulties. And we'll be right back. You're listening to Leo Romano and Peyton Dymick on WVFI, the voice of the Fighting Irish.
It's the song of a victory, and it traditionally galvanizes the students in the Notre Dame Stadium. It's the energetic and very familiar ending to Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture.
Purcell Pavilion at the Joyce Center. Notre Dame on a 13-4 run to close the first half and open up the second half. They have the 8-point lead over the Syracuse Orange, who's trying to play spoiler on this senior night. But right now having trouble taking care of the ball. Syracuse has 14 turnovers to Notre Dame's 10, and neither team really shooting it that well from beyond the arc. Notre Dame, about as bad as you can get. They're 0 for 9. Syracuse has 9 misses of their own, but they have made 2 3-pointers. So that's where we're at right now. The game's been played in the paint as expected. KK Bransford now in, Gisela Sanchez now in. All the technical difficulties, Peyton, we hope are now behind us. And we have a fun 6 minutes and 17 seconds left to bring you in this third quarter. As Hidalgo has it on the left side, she'll quickly hand it over to Moore. It ends up in the hands now of Sanchez on the right wing. And KK Bransford has it some 30 feet away from the basket. Moore now on the left side to Hidalgo. 8 on the shot clock. Got to make a move soon. Guarded by Hawkins. Really nowhere to go. Pulls up. Shoots. Foul. So with 4.2 seconds left, Hidalgo, number 3, draws the foul. She already has 16, but she'll go to the line where she's already 2 of 3 to get 2 more of her own.
I mean, honestly, in both situations with that shot clock running down, honestly, I wouldn't want any other Irish on that ball. You know, Hidalgo is able to make those aggressive moves. She's confident enough to make those aggressive moves, and she does a great job of doing so, even if it's not scoring a point, if she's getting those fouls, just so that way she has the opportunity at a free throw. I love what she did, and I think that was really smart play from her. And I think maybe that's what Syracuse was trying to do earlier, especially when they ran out that shot clock twice back-to-back, but Hidalgo's able to execute it.
Able to execute it indeed, as both free throws cut through the nylon to extend the lead back to 10. Notre Dame hasn't gotten the lead to more than that tonight. It ties their biggest lead of the game. The ball now in the hands of Burrows to Velez. Velez back to Burrows, who looks for the all-star freshman inside, and it's out to the corner. That 3 is good. Hawkins delivers from the near side. 45-38 now, 5:30 to play in the third quarter. Hidalgo hands it off to Moore. Moore finds Bransford. Bransford over to Gisela Sanchez, the Spaniard on the far left side, who eventually finds Hidalgo, who tries to cut, really nowhere to go for it. Steps into a pass to the corner, and that one's airballed by Ayanna Moore. The struggles from deep continue for the Irish, but Hidalgo pickpockets Hawkins and will try going coast to coast, but she's blocked, denied going up by Burrows. And you hear it from the crowd. They wanted a foul, and the other way is Felia, and Felia is now going to go to the line, but you're hearing it here from the crowd, Peyton.
I know. Honestly, I saw the bench react first, and so I thought that it was going to be called on Burrows for a second, and then they just kept running. So that was a little bit shocking there from the Orange, and obviously the Orange really wanting to make that up, and Felia obviously tried, but maybe was just a little too aggressive there, and that's why she ended up missing that layup here for Notre Dame. And there will actually be a media timeout here taken, but Notre Dame has not had a field goal in the last almost 3.5 minutes, which honestly, like we had mentioned, you know, we want to see the struggle from the 3 kind of go away for the Notre Dame, but they're not doing that. They're not executing on that perimeter, and even the paint's starting to get difficult for them. So I wonder how they're going to come out of this timeout and just be a little bit stronger both on those areas.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see how that plays out, too. It might be a media timeout, but I want to stick here. I want to talk about the implications of this final 4:51 and the final quarter. Both teams only have, I believe, 1 game left apiece in the regular season before the ACC tournament. Syracuse obviously finds himself 1 game ahead of Notre Dame in the ACC rankings. So it's a big game. And then Notre Dame will see Louisville on the road, a team that came here and knocked off the Fighting Irish 79-66. How big is this? What does it mean for the ACC tournament for Notre Dame?
I think that not only is this game crucial to really place Notre Dame, but it's almost like that extra boost of confidence they need, you know. Again, Syracuse has a little bit of an easier game going up against Boston College as their last game, and it's also at the Syracuse Dome. It's not in Boston. So they're kind of getting that home court advantage that I think is really going to help them and give them confidence heading into the tournament. And Notre Dame has a 3-game win streak right now. If they win this game, it could be 4. And, I mean, I'm not saying Notre Dame's going to lose to Louisville, but if history repeats itself, you know, that's going to definitely take a hit to Notre Dame's confidence. So I think getting all the wins they can, making them in a row if they can, is really going to be helpful, especially carrying them into this tournament when this season has been slightly rough for them, or rougher than it has in the past.
Yeah, you referred to this as a rougher season for Notre Dame, and it certainly is, because this will more than likely be the last game played on this floor for the Lady Irish, and it's only February, right? Usually Notre Dame is back here for March Madness. It works differently than the men's, right, Peyton? They get to come here and play the first 2 rounds here, the round of 64, the round of 32. That won't happen this season. UConn will host, LSU will host, a whole plethora of teams will be able to host. Notre Dame usually in that mix. Not going to be this year, but they seem to be getting hot at the right time, don't they?
I think so, and I think Notre Dame really knows how to make those comebacks. Again, a couple weeks ago, they had a really great comeback over Virginia Tech, which I think gave them a boost of confidence headed into that last home stretch of games that they're having, which they're experiencing right now. So I really think that, honestly, it's all a confidence game for Notre Dame, and I think they are mentally and physically strong enough to, A, keep their lead here, but then B, continue this and keep it strong moving forward.
It's 45-40 now as Layla Filia makes both her free throws. 4:45 left to play in the third. Bransford, nowhere to go with it. Finds Sanchez, 16 on the shot clock. Sanchez still 30 feet away from the basket. Into Coles. Coles gets it stripped, and it's going to be a turnover. Pushing it up the court now is Hawkins. Hawkins one-on-one with more. Spin move, turnaround off the front rim, no good. She gets the rebound, tracks it down. Jump ball now between Thompson and Coles, and this one's going to stay this way with the arrow. Syracuse ball under the basket, 4:19 to play.
Aggressive plays there, especially by Hawkins. She's done such a great job tonight, and headed into this game, she did have quite a few rebounds of her own, so really trying to kind of play that more defensive role is really what the Orange are looking for to stay in possession of this ball.
Velez will inbound the ball. She finds Filia on a quick pass to the left side. Hidalgo guarding her. She finds the baseline, puts it up. Foul going to be assessed to Hidalgo. Only Hidalgo's first of the game, so nothing to worry about there. But it will put the Orange to the free throw line to cut this lead down to 3.
Again, like I was talking about, it's that line of playing aggressively and being aggressive, but also playing smart and not giving up those easy points to Syracuse, especially, you know, this game is close. Now it's within 4 points. Syracuse is having the ability to get free throws. Again, free throws are easy points. Everybody should be able to make a free throw if you are on a Division I basketball team. So those easy points are what's going to help them.
Don't remind Carson Pout.
Oh, hey, he's from Arizona. Don't do Arizona like that.
Oh, brutal. Anyway, both free throws are good for Syracuse, so they pull within 3. 4 minutes to play in the third quarter. Prosper with the ball on the right elbow, finds Hidalgo, who cuts in. Floater is good. That's something Hannah Hidalgo has done well all season, is getting in the paint and getting the bucket to go just like so. So it's now 47-42 in favor of Notre Dame, who still has yet to make a 3. Hidalgo goes up and bats that one out of bounds. Velez was trying to rainbow that ball in there for Uche Izoje, who I must say has been awfully quiet for a 7-time Rookie of the Week in the ACC.
She really has, and it's really interesting because of the fact that I mean, obviously, before you were talking about her 11 double-doubles, and she has 22 games with double-digit scoring, and NC State was that 22nd game. But she also has 2 25-point games this season alone, and she's sitting at 8.
Seemed like Felia took a lot of extra steps there. Nonetheless, it wasn't called. Her floater was no good. Rebound belongs to Notre Dame, and Syracuse will be assessed with a foul following the defensive rebound from the Irish. So Hannah Hidalgo has it on the left side. She just crossed half court. 3:20 left in the third quarter. She finds Bransford, who's down low. Puts it back to Prosper. Prosper, the hook shot, no good. Rebound, Bransford. Bransford backs up, goes up, and is fouled. Notre Dame has loved that offensive glass tonight. That's 13 offensive rebounds, and leading the way is both Prosper and Bransford with 4 and 3 respectively. So Notre Dame will have a chance to go up 49-42 here with 3:08 left in the third.
I definitely think that Bransford has this ability to help the Irish right now. I mean, she had, going into this, she was 66.7% from the charity stripe. So definitely helping out the Irish, and she always has been. I mean, she's such a veteran player for this team, and she has championship experience. She's versatile, and she is also very resilient. So definitely giving the ball to her in times like this is going to be extremely important.
Yeah, well, the veteran misses both free throws on that end, one off the back rim, one off the front rim, so it stays 47-42. Syracuse with the ball. It's Izzo who finds a wide open Syracuse orange at the top of the key, but Felia's no good. Rebound belongs to Prosper and ends up in the hands of Hidalgo. The crowd's starting to feel it. Nothing happening right now. Hidalgo can't find anything, but it goes to Coles, who gets charged with a traveling violation and turnover number 12. Burrows inbounds, and Velez brings up the court right to left. Ends up in the hands of Felia. Darius is now back in for the game for the first time since her injury in the first half. Izzo almost throws that one away, but Burrows controls it cleanly. Back to Velez. Velez with a flurry of defenders into Izzo, who's fouled by Hidalgo. Hidalgo puts her hand up right away, signaling that, yes, it was a foul. I had to do it. And it was a good foul.
It was, and honestly, I mean, I feel like we see so much arguing coming from everybody, and you would expect, you know, ACC Rookie of the Week, ACC Player of the Week, you know, there might be kind of that rivalry in a way between those two, but honestly, that's great sportsmanship on either side, and that's how Notre Dame raises its athletes for sure.
So Uche Izzo makes the front end of two. Yeah, very steady from the line. She buries both. 47-44, just under 2 to play in the third. Hidalgo quarterbacking the offense, as CJ Carr does on the gridiron. To Bransford at the top of the key. Bransford finds Prosper inside, gets that one poked away by Burrows, who now has it going the other way. She passes it off to Velez. Velez gets around a few defenders, taking DeJesus to the rim, but it's Hidalgo who comes up with a steal, going coast to coast. Oh, the Euro step was good, but the finish was not. And Syracuse has numbers. It's a 4-on-3. They get the ball inside to Uche. Uche puts it up and in. Uncontested. Bransford tried to draw a charge. Didn't settle her feet in time. No call there. And it's 47-46. 67 seconds left in the third quarter. DeJesus handling it. Prosper now. Steps up from the elbow. That one's off the mark. Rebound belongs to Izzo, who now has 12 and 8. 9, sorry. That was her 9th rebound. So as quiet as she's been, Peyton, right on the verge of a double-double.
She's done a great job there on defense, even though she's been a little bit slow there on offense.
Whoa, what a move by Layla Filia as that one rattles home for the Orange to take their first lead of the half. It's 48-47 Qs. 6 seconds separating the shot clock and game clock. Hidalgo with 13 left on the shot clock, still at the logo. Gets a screen from Coles. Has nowhere to go. Finds her way into the paint to Coles, and Coles gets it to go. The layup is up and good. 7 seconds left. 49-48. Bouncing around. Prosper ends up with it. 3, 2, 1. Layup is going to be a little late, it looked like. No calls yet from the officials, but I think it was just a hair too late. She held on to the ball for a little too long. Probably should have gotten that layup up a bit earlier. So the score stays 49-48 with 10 minutes to play. Peyton, what just happened?
I know. That was honestly kind of a slower quarter, I would say, for both teams, honestly. Not necessarily some great play, I would say. I mean, obviously, there's great team chemistry that we're seeing and the abilities that, they're able to be there for one another and rebound off of those balls if their teammate's not getting it, just to ensure the other team doesn't take control, which I think is extremely important, especially when it is a one-point game like it is. But also, we're not seeing these big plays. Like, one of the biggest plays that we saw didn't even count for anything, So it's kind of not saying that they need to have big, flashy plays by any sort of the imagination, but being able to have the ability to make big plays when they need to and actually execute those plays is going to be extremely crucial headed into the last 10 minutes of this matchup, especially with such a close game.
You nailed it. Spot on for sure, Peyton. Well, as the lights go off here at the Purcell, we're going to step aside and take a break and bring the fourth quarter action your way. 49-48, Notre Dame with the lead. You're listening to Leo Romano and Peyton Dymick on WVFI, the voice of the Fighting Irish. Notre Dame 49, Syracuse 48. You're listening to Leo Romano and Peyton Dymick on WVFI, the voice of the Fighting Irish. We're bringing the fourth quarter your way right now. KK Bransford will inbound the ball to Hidalgo to start things off. They're working from our left to right and holding a 1-point lead with 10 minutes to play. Prosper looking inside. Notre Dame's love the paint tonight. Prosper going in again, spin move. This one's going to be deflected out of bounds by Syracuse. It'll stay this way. 12 seconds left on the shot clock. DeJesus is the inbounder. On the floor right now is DeJesus, Hidalgo, Coles, Prosper, and Bransford. Spin move on the left side. Weaves her way through defenders, puts up a shot, and it's good. Hannah Hidalgo now has 22. The other way now, Velez. She's now on the right-hand side. Bransford gets into the passing lane. Going to deflect this one out of bounds. It'll stay Syracuse basketball. But, man, she had a chance to run away with that one. She's now out of the game. Bransford getting a much-needed rest, and in comes Iana Moore. Velez controlling things. She's on the right side now. Into the corner to Felia. Felia back up and now into the hands of Izoj. Finds its way around the horn. Eventually to Darius, who's no good. Rebound Hidalgo. Hidalgo sprinting the other way. Wanted to go up with it. Instead takes it back out. Finds DeJesus for the three. It's good! She's got it. 54-48 with 8:40 left. And Notre Dame finally cashes in their first three of the night, Peyton.
What a great play there. Obviously, Notre Dame has been trying to shoot as aggressively as possible, but aggressive and textbook is what they needed, and that's exactly what DeJesus just delivered for the Irish.
Absolutely. And Darius had a quick response on the other end, so it's 55-50. Prosper from the free throw line. She nails it. It's good. 56-50. And the lids of the rims have started to come off. Everything's going in for both sides of the floor right now.
I think Notre Dame really needed Journey's "Don't Stop Believing" words of encouragement here, and they have obviously made such an impact already.
That one rims in and out, no good from Syracuse. Iana Moore coming the other way. Moore on the right-hand side, puts on a little shimmy, spin move. Finds herself on the baseline, cross court to DeJesus. DeJesus into the paint, passes it back, but it's stolen from Felia. Felia with the steal. That's Notre Dame's 14th turnover of the night. Velez controls things at the top of the key. Felia has now got it. She's the leading scorer for Syracuse with 15. Putting some moves on Hidalgo. Hidalgo reaches in a little too much, and they're going to get her with a foul. It's the third foul committed by number 3.
Again, good aggression there from Hidalgo, but also slightly at what cost is that aggression for the Irish. And really, like I'm mentioning, Syracuse has great turnover potential here to get those points and to make up for this deficit that they have of, even though it's only 6 points, they still have the potential to sink 2 threes right here and score enough points to beat the Irish.
Oh, and that's how you use the baseline. Layla Felia, as she goes up and in for the score. It's 56-52. Every time Notre Dame seems to pull away, the Orange have a response. DeJesus is trapped in the corner, finds Coles, who finds Prosper in the paint. Prosper goes up and puts it in. An amazing sequence of sharing the ball for the Irish. It's 58-52, just under 7 to play.
Prosper just so consistent tonight, especially in the paint. I mean, she's about 50% right now, so doing such a great job.
Potts in the game now, and so is Almone for this Syracuse team. It ends up in the hands of Darius now. Darius steps back, puts up a floater, no good, gets it back. Felia from deep. That's off the mark, but we're having more technical issues. They reset the shot clock. The rim was never hit on that possession. We're going to see what they decide here. Peyton, we thought all the media technical difficulties were behind us, but here they are haunting us again with 6:29 to play.
I know this is also a big momentum shift as well for both of those teams. I mean, personally, when I was playing sports, if there was ever a scoring issue or a table issue, and we would have to take 5, even this will not be 5 minutes long, but even if we had to take 5-10 minutes just for them to figure out the problem, I know I was kind of mentally in a weird headspace of not super locked in with the game, but also trying to stay locked in while also understanding that there was an issue and everything like that. So I can only imagine how these players are feeling. Obviously, bigger scale game, much more on the line than anything that I ever competed with, but still kind of being in the mindset of, this wasn't really a timeout that we expected, and then having to come back and, play full force moving forwards is really difficult. So I can only imagine what they're thinking all right now.
That's exactly right, Peyton. With media timeouts happening as frequently as they are tonight, whichever team can stay mentally stronger, if you will, is the team that prevails. And right now, it's been Notre Dame. So it looks like they've figured everything out. It's going to be Syracuse basketball with 6:29 left, so that was fine. What wasn't fine was the shot clock. They've reset it now to 2 seconds. So Syracuse will have a chance to inbound the ball, maybe a chance for one pass or one dribble, and then we'll have to put up a shot rather quickly. Again, this is a big opportunity for Notre Dame. They need this win so badly for seeding because they end the season at Louisville. They have to go down to Kentucky and play the Cardinals. And the Cardinals are a good team. They're a top 10 team right now. They have a lot of talent. They're very deep. Unlike this Notre Dame team, right? This Notre Dame team relies on only a few players. Hidalgo, Prosper, Coles. You get some distribution from DeJesus and Moore here and there, but it's mainly top-heavy. So a win tonight would propel them all the way up to 4th in the ACC standings. A team that previously was in the double-digit of rankings for most of the season.
I agree, and I definitely think that Notre Dame's offense is looking the way it is. I mean, they lost Olivia Miles to TCU, Kate Colville to LSU, Kaylee Watson to Villanova, Emma Rich to FSU, and then Sonia Citron was drafted to the Washington Mystics. So I definitely think that Notre Dame has had its fair share of losses, and so has Syracuse, but I think Notre Dame has definitely struggled more.
Well, they put in Izo J for that inbound play. Didn't work. It did go to her. More the other way. That layup is way off the mark, so it ends up in the hands of Darius, who's now pushing it from right to left. Prosper closely on her, and she gets pushed from behind. No call. DeJesus now the other way. And she finds Hidalgo, who passes it back. Spin move. It's good. Wow. Hannah Hidalgo, are you kidding me? An amazing pass. And she gets credit for the assist. DeJesus finds the bottom of the net for her second time tonight. She now has 5. Notre Dame up 60-52. And they're forcing a shot from Potts. That one's off the mark, no good. Rebound into Darius. Darius rebound again, and she gets it to go. A little stat padding there from number 20.
And I think, too, Syracuse might be a little bit nervous of this shot clock hitting 0 again. It happened a couple of times there in the first half, so really trying to keep those errors specifically to a minimum for them. I also think it has to be slightly unnerving in a way when, just any Notre Dame player does anything and Purcell just absolutely erupts and everybody's on their feet. And with Syracuse, it's obviously, you're coming to such an established program that's well-loved by students and alumni and everything like that. So has to be slightly nerve-wracking for sure. So playing that mental game for them headed into the last 5 minutes is going to be really important.
The stage is set for Hannah Hidalgo. 60-54. 5.5 to play in this one. Notre Dame needs this win really badly heading into the ACC tournament. Hidalgo trying to man the field. She finds a wide open Moore, who drains the three from the right side. It's Notre Dame's second of the night and a big one at that, 63-54. One of the largest leads of the night for Notre Dame, and you can feel it here in Purcell as Izoj gets denied by the bigger Coles. And now Potts is charged with the foul. Hannah Hidalgo's jumping for joy. And the momentum has certainly flipped on a dime there, Peyton.
100%. I think this is exactly what Notre Dame needs. Everybody is getting excited. Teammates, people on the bench, managers, Purcell itself. You can feel this energy, and I think Notre Dame is really going to take it to its advantage.
Let's see what they do with this energy. Hidalgo on the baseline. Finds Coles, who finds Moore again, because why not? And that one's just off. Rebound belongs to Burrows of Syracuse, who finds Velez. Velez weaving her way through traffic, crosses over, finds Burrows again. Burrows now on the right side into the right-hand corner back to Velez. Velez puts on a little 1-2 move and gets that one over Prosper, no good. And this one's going to go out of bounds. Last touch by Prosper belongs to Syracuse. 4:17 left in this one.
Yeah, Syracuse right now has only made one of their last 7 field goals, so obviously it's a slight struggle here for the Orange.
Yeah, and the Orange have really slowed their roll in terms of points at the paint. They're at 22 at the half, only 34 now on the game as a whole. Ophelia doing nothing. Almost pickpocketed down low. Instead, Izoj and Coles are going to get in on it. And the jump ball belongs to Notre Dame. Sorry, to Syracuse. I messed that up twice now, Peyton.
Got to look at those arrows, you know.
Man, I'm not doing a good job of it.
Neither am I. It's okay.
Ophelia puts on a move. Settles from the top of the key. That one's no good. Doesn't even touch the rim, and another shot clock violation. Peyton, you just talked about it, and Notre Dame forced them into yet another one, their third of the game.
I know this is something that I honestly would not expect from a team such as Syracuse. Again, they've done such a great job this year. They're, very high in the ACC, and they have players that are ranked extremely high in the ACC. So these shot clock violations are not something that you would really see from the Orange or expect to see from a team like the Orange.
Potts gets in there and annoys Hidalgo, deflecting that one away, but Hidalgo gets it back on the left side. Hidalgo spin move to Prosper. Ball's loose, ends up with Hidalgo. She puts up a shot from the left baseline. That one's no good. Rebound now the other way. Velez has it. And Burrows from way downtown, and that one's off the mark. Potts there to secure the offensive rebound, the 16th offensive rebound of the night. And Potts then puts up a three of her own, no good. Uche with the rebound, dumps it off to Burrows, and Burrows is good. So second chance points there for Syracuse. With under 3 minutes left, it's 63-56. Notre Dame holds a 7-point lead, but the second chance points just cut into that. Hidalgo, she ends up with it because why not? And goes up with the right hand through some contact, 65-56 with 2.5 to play. Oh, wow, Ophelia answers on the other side. That three-pointer is good from a long distance on the left side. 65-59, Notre Dame and Syracuse right now exchanging shots.
100%, and Syracuse head coach here looking slightly frustrated, immediately actually going towards the ref to get some clarification about what has happened. I didn't personally see anything that was out of the ordinary and or not allowed, so definitely curious as to what that conversation is like. But she definitely did it a lot more calmly than Micah Shrewsbury did at Cal. So showing a lot more class.
A lot more class, no doubt. And you know it's getting out of hand for the men's basketball team when your head coach is showing up on the injury report because of a game.
Oh, my goodness. I was there and I didn't even see it. I had to.
Yeah, I mean, we could get into the weeds of that one. I don't think we want to right now.
No.
I think we stick our attention with this game because we got a good one. It's 65-59 with 2:29 to play. On the floor for the Irish, Hidalgo, Coles, Prosper, Bransford, and more. Hidalgo, the leading scorer of the night with 24. Not too far behind her, though, is Layla Felia with 20 of her own for the Syracuse Orange. And joining her on the floor is Burrows, Hawkins, Darius, and Uche Izoje, who, by the way, now has her 12th double-double of the season with a rebound a few possessions ago. So DeJesus is at the top of the key now. It's in the hands of Moore. Coles ends up with it. Oh, and Hidalgo with the backdoor cut and one! Hidalgo goes up strong plus the foul. 67-59. Wow. You cannot take your eyes off of Hidalgo. And she converts it. 68-59. Notre Dame has pulled ahead yet again, but every time they have, Syracuse has had a response. Burrows thought about it from deep. Instead, it's into Izoje. Izoje muscles her way through defenders, and that's going to be a traveling violation. She thinks she got hit on the hand. I thought she did as well. The refs didn't see it. Now with under 2 to play, Notre Dame's up 9 with the ball.
Smart on Hannah Hidalgo to slow this game down right here, run the clock as much as she can, and especially being careful not to foul and send Syracuse to the charity stripe.
No doubt about it. The clock is your friend right now as Coles puts on a nice spin move and gets it to go over her defender. So it's now 70-59. Notre Dame has reached that 70 threshold we talked about earlier, and Darius is off the mark. That looked like an over the back, and it sure is. Izoje is called with the foul. That's her third of the night. And you can start to feel it here in South Bend with Notre Dame up 11 with 84 seconds left.
I think Notre Dame's done a great job of staying aggressive, but also playing their own game. They're not necessarily playing against Syracuse at this point. They are just playing against themselves to finish this matchup, and they are doing it extremely well.
Syracuse has elected not to foul yet. Just over a minute into this one, and Izoje gets her hands on that. So that's a block for number 44. Now to the corner. Oh, wow. A very, what's the word I'm looking for? Out-of-body foul from Hidalgo. Just not a smart play as Felia goes up with the 3 ball. So Syracuse will have 3 free throws, and that's Hidalgo's 4th. One more, and she's out.
I can kind of feel for Hidalgo in this situation. I think more than anything right now, Notre Dame wants to win their last game at home this season, wants to win their senior night, you know, and so definitely letting emotion take control of your brain is what happened right there with Hidalgo. So no, not a smart foul, definitely more of an emotional one, but one that was going to happen at some point in the next minute here.
Felia's made her first 2. She's 7 of 8 on the night from the stripe. She cashes in the 3rd. So 70-62, 58.7 left. Notre Dame in the driver's seat, but it's not over yet. I've seen crazier things, Peyton, and I'm sure you have too.
This is true, and I always kind of feel like, the last minute of basketball, in a way, is almost like a last hour here. Timeouts being called, fouls, just everything like that just mixed into one definitely makes the minute the longest of the entire game. So, yes, I think that even though there's only 58 seconds left, it could be a very quick game depending on, who contains the ball for the team. You know what I mean? But it could also, we could be sitting here for another 30 minutes, and you don't know.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I don't think we will. I think Notre Dame's kind of got this one locked away in the W column, but I don't want any announcers jinx. So I guess let's pretend I didn't say that. Interesting to note here, Hidalgo has played all 39 minutes up to this point.
I know, I wish I had her stamina and her strength. Like, playing for 39 minutes is not necessarily uncharacteristic for her. We've seen her put up some very high numbers, and like I was mentioning, I think she's either second or third right now in the ACC for minutes played. So definitely, she's used to it, but it's just so incredible to watch.
And she still is playing with the same tenacity and aggressiveness as she started this game. Oh, wow. We're going to have a 5-second violation called on Notre Dame. A costly 15th turnover. So Burrows is going to take it out and into the hands of Darius. So a chance to cut the lead to 4:05 now with 53 seconds left. Burrows passes up on that three opportunity, tightly guarded. And this one's going to fling its way out of bounds. But it was on Hidalgo who got a piece of it. So it's going to stay here, 70-62, 47.1 left. Darius inbound the ball from underneath the basket on the left side. 18 on the shot clock. Filio with the ball, puts on a move, gets inside, uses the backboard, and is going to be called for a charging foul. She's going to be called for the charging foul. Irish basketball, 70-62 with 43 seconds left. I'm sure our friends with Syracuse Radio are not too happy about that call. Nonetheless, the refs decided to blow their whistle. It's Notre Dame's basketball. And just like that, the foul will send the Fighting Irish to the free throw line. I was getting ready to call an and one there.
I know.
Looked like Prosper was able to set her feet just in time. Now more from the line. As smooth as butter. 71-62 now. They have officially scored more than the football team has against Syracuse. Yeah, Moore's been automatic from the free throw line all season long. She gets both of them to go. Notre Dame back up 10, their largest lead of the night. That free throw by Darius is off the mark, a little too strong, ends up in the hands of Hidalgo. They're not going to foul. And just like that, this game is about over. Hidalgo will dribble it out on the top of the key. And ladies and gentlemen, your final from Purcell Pavilion will be Notre Dame 72, Syracuse 62. Notre Dame improves to 11-6 in ACC play. Syracuse also now 11-6. And just like that, Notre Dame, 3, 4, 5 weeks ago, we were talking about them potentially being a double-digit seeded team in the ACC tournament, and they're all the way up to that 4th and 5th spot.
They've done a great job of climbing this year, and I mean, I remember a couple weeks ago talking about whether or not Neil Ivey was in the hot seat with this team, and if anything, this win tonight really just solidified her spot with this team. I mean, yes, it is her play calls, but it's also the girls' execution and their ability to listen to Ivy and really trust in her, especially when it's a very close game like this. I mean, 10 points is not a lot here, and Notre Dame stayed strong mentally. They trusted their coach, and they played good basketball, which is exactly what they needed to do in this situation. And honestly, the Irish could not have had a better finish, or be prouder of themselves for tonight. They won this for themselves. They won this for the school, and especially their seniors tonight, and it was so special to see.
Yeah, it's always fun to win on senior night. I guess beating Syracuse on senior night has become a theme here around Notre Dame's campus. Maybe the men can schedule them?
I would hope so, honestly.
Although at this point, who knows if they would even get a win against Syracuse. Well, your final is 72-62. Syracuse didn't score from the field in the final 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Very similar to how the Virginia Tech game ended. But not everything that Notre Dame displayed tonight is transferable when you have Louisville coming up and when you're going to have these tough teams in March in the ACC tournament. Right, you got Duke. You'll probably see Louisville again. Who knows? But a few things, Peyton, that I took away that Notre Dame has to do better. It starts with their shooting. Poor shooting performance tonight. They shot 2 of 13 from 3. That's not good. That's something that Notre Dame has to get back to the drawing board, kind of work on how they're going to get open shots. That's what it is. The contested ones, if they don't go in, that's fine. But they had 5 or 6 open three-pointers that they just didn't make. You have to be able to convert that. And then, I'm nitpicky. The offensive board, Syracuse had 17. Notre Dame only had 13. You got to be able to box out. Find a body to get a rebound. And on a similar note, in the paint, you're going to be facing these bigger teams, UConn, South Carolina, LSU, into March. And these points in the paint that Syracuse got, it's not going to roll. They had 36 of them. Over half their points were from within the paint. Something that Notre Dame has to improve on moving forward. But overall, I'm very pleased with this one. And I hope you are too.
I am. It was such a special game to get to watch and get to be a part of here. And I almost picked Syracuse as my college. So it was if this was only reaffirming that I picked the right place, I don't know what does.
Absolutely. Well, there you have it. Leo Romano and Peyton Dymick signing off after a 72-62 win for the Lady Irish on the basketball court over the Syracuse Orange to improve to 11-6 in the ACC. This is WVFI and the voice of the Fighting Irish. Good night, and as always, go Irish.
It's the song of a victory, and it traditionally galvanizes the students in the Notre Dame Stadium. It's the energetic and very familiar ending to Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture. It's the song of a victory, and it traditionally galvanizes the students in the Notre Dame Stadium. It's the energetic and very familiar ending to Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture. It's the song of a victory, and it traditionally galvanizes the students in the Notre Dame Stadium. It's the energetic and very familiar ending to Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture.